What is up, Internet world, and welcome back to Accelerate. My name is Mike, and the man behind the camera is Ian, and today we're bringing the 2023 Volvo XC90 Recharge. So if you're wondering how Volvo's lineup works, it works like this. There's the XC40, which is their little guy, the XC60, their middle, and then this, the XC90, which is their largest 3-row, 7-passenger SUV. Now it's also important to note, we reviewed the EX90, which is their all-electric version of this, but they're not the same. If you haven't watched that video, jump over to our channel and click the button and watch that video. It's pretty awesome. It's the first look of the all-new EX90. So we're going to focus on this today, the XC90, because we have it in the flesh. The EX90 is not on the road yet. So this is the hybrid. So if you're wondering what the recharge part of this Volvo XC90 is, it's this. This is a hybrid that you get to plug in and get 58 kilometers of range or 35 miles. That's exactly the same as the XC60 we just reviewed. But more on that later. Now we got to talk about subscribers and putting a plaque right here. We're on the road to 1 million and we're very close to 200K. So we'd really appreciate you guys smashing that subscribe button and giving us all the love in the world. All right, Volvo XC90. It's a 7-passenger. It makes 455 horsepower and 523 pound-feet of torque out of a 2-liter turbocharged hybrid. I have about 23 kilometers, about 14 miles worth of power in my battery, 110 kilometers or just over a quarter tank worth of fuel as far as weight goes. No kids in the back. Oh my God, this thing makes a ton of torque. Okay, let's try to get this thing. Oh, God, right on the front end. Come on, what do I got? What do I got? What do I got? 4.97. Ooh, baby. I can do better. I can do better. Come on. I heard that when you drag race and you take your bum off the chair, you go faster. Okay, bum off the chair. Bum off the chair. Thrusting forward. It's green. It's green. 4.95. It's still better than 4.97, so that's a thumbs up. So it's under 5 seconds. Under 5 seconds. I think it's 0.3 slower than the 60, but dude, under 5 seconds for a 7-passenger? That is pretty dope. So Volvo has 3 different trims in this XC90: Core, Plus, and then Ultimate. But then you can also pick style features. Base being one of them, Dark, which is where everything's blacked out, and then this, Bright, which has a lot of chrome. So depending on what you like in terms of style, those are your 3 choices of stylistic elements. To the front of the Volvo XC90, well, let's be honest, it looks pretty much the same from a 2016 model. Doesn't seem a whole lot of changes. There are some trim pieces you can adjust, but other than that, it's kind of the same. So has a Thor style headlights. In the middle, you have the iron Volvo logo with a camera underneath. Again, this is the Bright version, so it's a lot of chrome. As we move below, we have some sort of integrated lower bumper there that gives it some style and a little bit of sportiness. But other than that, it's pretty normal. I do really like this color though. It's called Denim Blue. Let me know in the comments below if you do like this color, Denim Blue, on the Volvo XC90. To the side of the Volvo XC90. Now I will tell you that this platform is older. So you can't really compare it against an X7 because people say that the X7 is just more nimble, feels better. But I will say that it's not just the fact that it's older. The wheelbase of a BMW X7 is 122 inches. This is 117.5. It's more in line with an Audi Q7 that's 117.9 inches. That is what we should be comparing it against. So on the front, you have a 21-inch wheel that is really, really nice. They have this polished finish, but it has a star-like design in the middle. And I do like the way they've done this wheel. Thumbs up, Volvo. As far as aesthetics on the side of the vehicle, you can see that it has this fender flare that is body colored or body matched that goes all the way down into one of those. If you guys know what this is called, let me know in the comments below. Now, as we move past this piece that our demographic probably has no idea what it is, you have this color matched side mirror that does have a camera underneath to give the user a 360 view of their vehicle. and what's around their vehicle. Then you have this sort of cutout on the door handle in the front and the back, which means when the key's in your pocket, you can walk up to either door handle on any side and lock or unlock the vehicle. You obviously have tinted on all three windows here because this is an SUV in North America and they are tinted. This does have the bright package, which means you have chrome here, and chrome on the roof rails. It does say Recharge nice and fancy down there, so letting people know that you drive a Recharge, not just a standard XC90, which I assume they'll know by looking at these wheels. Then you have the premium fuel that you must push a button inside to open, and it does require premium fuel. You cannot put regular gas in this Volvo, only premium fuel. Now it's important to note that this Ultimate does have air suspension, so you could drop it for entry and exit, which is nice to have. Now in the back, I want to talk about these taillights. Now obviously this model's been around for a while, but the new EX90 has a separated, more like the Polestar. This is more classic Volvo design, so if you're not a big fan of this rear end and you're like, forget Volvo, well, the EX90 is for you. To the Volvo XC90 and the booty. Yep, it has air suspension that you can drop it and lower it, especially if my big booty gets out of the vehicle. Now the back looks pretty much exactly the same as all the older ones. Again, this is not a fully refreshed version from the back. So here we go, the XC90 that you see on the road everywhere you drive. There's something to know though. You can tow 5,000 pounds. And the rest, if we start at the top, I can tell you has a long third brake light. It does have these fancy rear taillights that I talked about. This is tinted. You've got this over here. I always complain that I wish that these wipers were underneath, but people on the interwebs will say that this is a better location. It can actually provide more force to the back window. I'll let you guys comment in the comments below. Now there's Volvo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Volvos. You got the XC90 there, and this fancy badge, the T8 all-wheel drive Recharge, which is key because the engine and the powertrain on this is amazing. I will tell you because we just drove the XC60 and I was absolutely impressed, and this is no different. And moving down from the sill, you have this bright chrome piece that wraps around the side and rear of this Volvo XC90. And then from there, you have two Parktronic sensors. And if you're wondering where the other two are, well, I will tell you, you get two bonus ones. You get two on the side and two on this side, so a total of 6 Parktronic sensors on the back and side of your Volvo. Front seat of the Volvo XC90. Well, you've been in one, been in them all. They're pretty much exactly the same, but this is a bit more luxurious because you have the suede headliner. Again, really nice, clean door panel. Automatic windows all the way around there. Not dual pane, but it's still fairly quiet in here. Nice old man steering wheel. Now, as I look around, the most blaring, obvious thing is this screen. It is so small. It is so small and embarrassing. I know that you have an updated Google Play, an updated Google Maps, and you can get all the information over the air, software. You small man. Like, this driver's display at 12.3 is a nice clean size and gives you most of the info you need. Volvo, like, you know, user interface is just not the best. I've complained about this forever. It's simple in some spaces, but so basic and hard to get to in other spots. The cruise control is easy. On the left side of the steering wheel, it's simply just a button. You hit it, it activates. Super easy. To go faster, up, down, that's all standard. But the buttons to the right of that is to adjust a few things. One is the distance, cool, but the right side here, you try to go up and down, it doesn't tell you anything on this driver's display, which is so annoying. And then when you get to this little screen, if you want to make the temperature hotter or colder, it's not easy. You have to press this, this goes up. They're just so annoying, Volvo. Why? And no wireless CarPlay? What? And on top of that, no wireless charger for 2023? What? Okay, let's talk about the premium materials. You've got heads-up display now. Nice wood trim. Cool center console. The start and stop button's weird as hell, not gonna lie. There are some good points though. First one, this is made in Sweden. You've got the Swedish flag right on the passenger seat letting you know. It also has the coolest Orofos shifter. Nice and fancy, but you don't get it when you get the EX90 electric version. That is on the stock. You have a very clean center console with this nice wood that can be pulled back to show you have 2 cup holders, and I will say with our unbranded water bottle that they fit no problem. And then you have a faux cigarette lighter without the cigarettes, because everybody vapes nowadays apparently. And moving back from there, you have 2 USBs in the storage compartment there. It's not very deep. I will show you by the rings on our unbranded water. That's how high it goes. Not a lot of room. But my favorite part about this Volvo is the seats. They are heated and ventilated. They have adjustments, so you have leg extensions, you have side extensions, just a very comfortable seat. And this is probably what people love about the Volvos, the seats, because I do. I'm pissed.
You're the last person I'd want to feel that way.
You're my girl.
Let me know if I can do anything to help.
In the third row of the XC90, now it's a 5 plus 2 in my opinion. It's not really a full 7 because a full grown adult, even though they'll have the headroom like I do, you probably just won't have the leg room that's good enough for a long trip. I like the fact that it is 2 seats in the back here and not just a bench. I like that they have a center console for the third row passengers. They have individual seat belts that are clear and apparent. They have a nice decent sized cup holder, a nice vent shining right at me or facing me. As far as USBs go, do we have them right here? We don't. I've been looking up and down, but I do have a fancy suede headliner. I do have 19 speakers, including one right here next to my left eardrum. I do have a nice reading light right here. So really premium quality materials used here because it is built in Sweden. So for those that say, hey, well, the XC60 is built in China, the Recharge one we drove was, I also, the build quality of that was excellent. This is also good, but for some weird reason, I felt that the Chinese one was a tad better, probably because it's newer, not as old as this in terms of its full design. Everything else seems pretty good back here, good visibility. I do have little heaters in there to heat off the snow when I'm sitting back here, so I have some visibility so mom and dad can make sure that I'm safe back here, and everything else is pretty straightforward. Seats feel comfortable. They are Volvo after all. Volvo does make probably the best seats in the car industry. You can't fold these things back. They're just sort of a one position. I wish you could, but you can't. I tried, but I will try again on camera just to show you guys that I tried. That's it. There's that. Voila. Second row. Second row, and we'll show you something that's really interesting. To get in the back seat here is a little bit difficult. You have your typical handle up top, exactly the same as an Audi Q7. This folds forward, make sure the baby seat is in good shape, does that. But to move this forward here, it takes a lot of power. Not easy. Now to get in, pretty straightforward. That's like the Audi Q7. Move it backward. Also, right here, very difficult. And then it clicks over and bam. So this point here is tough. And then this is all the same stuff. You also notice that it has 3 individual seats that have sliding motion. It's not 2, one larger, one small. It's 3 individual seats. So I have to do this on the exact same way on the other side as well. And then in the middle here, for me to drop this thing, there's nothing up top that I can do to drop the top, except for a handle here that I pull, and then this folds flat. So it's each seat on either side does the sliding motion so I can get in. The center doesn't move over. It slides backwards and forwards, but it doesn't totally move up and out of the way. And that is because, again, it's not 3 seats in the back, it's only 2. But something to note here is, okay, here's another problem. Now if I want to pull this back up, I got to find this little pulley thing here. I pull it, and then I can move this up. All right, interesting. So it's made for a specific type of family, a family that requires this, which is the coolest feature in the middle. You have a booster seat built right into the seat of the vehicle. You don't have to bring that stupid plastic booster seat with like the thinnest piece of cotton on top to have your sit on top. That is hard. This is nice and soft, so your kids will love you if they're in a booster seat. But you will get annoyed moving these seats backwards and forwards. All right, so let me jump inside and show you a few things that I've noticed. Very good quality door panel, great mix of materials, nice pieces when it comes to the Bowers and Wilkins. The grille covers are amazing. Nice wood. Everything about the door panel is beautiful. The headliner, again, suede, nice. I do have a nice handlebar here that is wrapped in leather. Just really good finishes. Happy with that. Again, we talked about the seats now, but if I pull this down, you do have your cup holder. I push this button, it opens up nice. Great quality to touch, Napa leather. Love it on my hands. Now, the reason why this is Napa, you can get wool, which is basically standard, but wool does not have ventilated seats, which is this one does, so that's why this does have this Napa leather, which you have choices to pick. But I do want to talk about this right here. There's a bump out in the middle, and that is usually when you have a mechanical sort of shaft going from the front to the back. But because this is a Recharge, this has electric motors in the back and an engine in the front that only powers the front wheels, which means there's no like solid axle that goes from front to back. So you don't really require this. But there's batteries hiding in there, and that sort of encases it together, and that's why it's still here. I will say that in this, it's a little bit lower than in the 60. The 60 was higher. It was really just like sort of like eye-popping. This is not too bad. It's still fairly high, but it's decent. I'm not complaining about that. Above it though, you do have two USB-Cs. You do have vents here. So again, you have vents, two vents right in the center console, and then you have a vent on the left in the in the B pillar here, and then in the C pillar behind me. So good venting. I saw online somebody complaining about not enough venting, and I'm like, I don't know what you're complaining about. It's actually pretty good. And then the last piece that I want to talk about when I'm sitting in the back seat is this panoramic sunroof. It goes all the way to the end, which means I have a lot of visibility when I'm in the back. It doesn't cut sort of 3/4 up, so I'm losing that. Especially for the people in the back and the third row, they're really going to notice it when it's tight back there. But because this goes all the way back, I think they'll be okay. One thing I can appreciate is how this sunshade actually clips in. Very easy. It's pretty much dummy proof. A lot of the other brands, to be honest, have the clips on the ends of both, and they're like, you get one, but you can't get the other. Then you get one, the other, and then you can't get the first one. It's so annoying, but this one's super easy. Really good job, Volvo. It's measuring time. How much width do we have in this XC90? We have 47 inches. All I wonder is this. Drywall and plywood is 48 inches wide. Why can't they make these things 1 inch wider? Like, what is 1 inch, man? Boys, what is 1 inch? As far as depth goes, we have a whopping 4 feet to the back of the second row. Now, I would tell you what the back of the third row is, but I actually have to get in to move it up. There is no powered. This is not a powered. There isn't even a button to drop the seats, and this is where the other brands kind of destroy it at this price point and this level. You should be able to hit a button and at least drop the seats, but there's not even that. Now for me to drop the seats, I have to do one of these, and I'll show you in a second, but to take the seats up, I have to do this, which is ridiculous. I gotta go on this side. I gotta drop these seats. I gotta press this button, and this is pretty standard stuff, but it's just a lot of work. And these seats aren't exactly light because Volvo has lots of quality. And when it has quality, it means it has weight. Okay, so we have 22 inches. So if this number is important to you, take note, you have 22 inches of depth from the back of the seat to the front of the sill. But an important measurement to know is how much room do we have with the tailgate closed and the back of this third row. So I'm gonna jump in and find out and let you guys know, how much room do we have? Well, we have approximately 15 inches. 15 inches, ladies. That's a good number. So how about the steering wheel? It's fairly direct. I don't say that it's as tight as, say, a BMW, but it's close. It's about the same as the Audi Q7. I would say as far as the brakes go, also feels fairly sure-footed like the Audi does. Visibility, it's really good. I mean, that C-pillar back there is a little bit wide and that headrest is a little bit big, but my mirrors sort of cover that, so I'm okay. I feel good about that. Now the hybrid component having 58 kilometers of range is really good. You can use this thing pretty much in the city, all electric without using a drop of fuel, which is nice. Go home, plug it back in, and again, it does it. It doesn't have a super fast charging like the Mitsubishi Outlander did, but I would say if you're gonna leave it overnight, well, then you're good to go. Plug it in and voila. But you have 5 different drive modes. You have hybrid, which is where it depends on what it wants to choose based on your driving experience. Then you have power, which doubles it up, and you have the engine and the battery at the same time. Then you have pure, which is purely battery. Then you have off-road, and then constant all-wheel drive. Because remember, as I mentioned, in the inside, you only have the engine to power the front wheels, and then the back wheels are completely electric. And together they form that power. I I like that you have 3 different battery usage settings. The first one is auto, the next one is hold, where it stores the battery power that it has and doesn't drain it. And then you have charge, which is where the engine powers the battery, so the battery has more range. So that's cool. I leave it in charge quite a bit because I like to have battery power from when I'm in the city. I just hit pure and voila, off I go, pure electric mode. That to me is a thumbs up. As far as speed in pure, it's not the fastest thing, it's actually fairly slow, but when you're puttering away in the city, the bumper-to-bumper traffic, pure really works. So if you're the type to be hauling kids around, sitting on the highways a lot, the Volvo XC90 is a really good choice. I find that the platform of it is long enough, that it's smooth, it's comfortable, really good seats, it's really quiet in here. You have choices that when you get to the town that your kids are playing, whatever, hockey, soccer, whatever it is, you can pick pure and then you can putter in that town absolutely free, and you're really just on the highway consuming the least amount of fuel, sitting at about 60 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour, whatever you drive, or 120 or 115K. So that's that. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Sound quality is really good in here. All in all, I really think it's a good package. It just depends on prices and availability nowadays. So, hey, that's not my department. I'm just here to tell you all about it. We'll catch you on the next one.